Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. If you could all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, can I get a verification of the posting of the agenda, please?
Amber Edwards for the record. The agenda was posted on the 26th day of June 2026 between the hours of 12 and 5 p.m. at all the locations listed on the agenda in accordance with statutes.
Thank you, Amber. We'll move to our first appointment, 5A, update from Ormat Technologies regarding geothermal operations and exploration. It's going to be the little red button at the bottom of your mic.
Good morning. Went green, and then it went red, so we're good to go. You're on. Commissioners, my name is Scott Nichols with Ormat Technologies, Reno, Nevada. Thank you for having me here this morning. I do have a PowerPoint real quick of about 9 slides. I think Tara's going to advance those for me. And I just wanted to give you a quick update and information item on Ormat's operations and explorations in Churchill County. This is also a little bit of a background for those in the community that might be hearing yourselves with regard to geothermal and how it's changing. Next slide, Tara. Really quick overview. I want to give you just a summary of our Churchill County projects. I want to talk quickly about resources, the difference in geothermal resources, direct use, binary, flash steam resources, enhanced geothermal resources, the capacity factors we're looking at when our communities look at the differences between geothermal, wind, solar, and other types of energy, a geological perspective, the development process, environmental benefits, and community. Next slide. So Churchill County is really ground zero for the geothermal industry, especially Ormat in Nevada and in the Great Basin. The geothermal area of operations right now is, imagine the Great Basin centering from the I-15 corridor in Utah to the Sierra Front on the Nevada-California border, and from about, let's just say, Adel and southern Idaho through really Esmeralda County and into the southern Nevada as the Great Basin. We have some geothermal operations outside that area, but within that Great Basin sector, Churchill County really we have more operating plants and exploration operations than any other place. Operating plants, Brady Desert Peak, 24 megawatts, up to the northeast, Dixie Valley at 64 megawatts, Stillwater, 12 megawatts, Tungsten, 38 megawatts over in the eastern portion of the county, and Salt Wells, just southwest at 9 megawatts. We have 7 new exploration sites in Churchill County, located all the way from Juniper Mountain up to the north, down to what we call Diamond Flat between here and Schurz. We're doing some core drilling there right now, and other exploration, what we call New York Canyon, a little more expansion in the Dixie Valley area, and another expansion over in the Tungsten area. Next slide. So I really want to talk about these geothermal systems. Our communities and county commissions across the Great Basin are going to hear a little more about, I'm going to start from the bottom of this slide, enhanced or advanced geothermal systems. These are high pressure injection that we basically take these extremely hot rock areas that have not been exploited in the past. They don't have a brine resource or very limited brine resources associated with them, but this interest in advanced or enhanced geothermal systems is really being looked at as a way to expand and make more ubiquitous the availability of geothermal power across, literally across the country, not just focused on the Great Basin area. It's still being studied at commercial scale. Fervo Technologies has a demonstration project in Beaver, Utah right now, and Ormat has partnered with another company, Sage Resources. We are actively exploring and expanding our land holdings to be able to take advantage of these enhanced or advanced geothermal systems. Let me back up and talk about low temperature, medium, and high temperature geothermal resources that make up all of the operations in Churchill County right now. really low temperature resources are the resources that we have utilized ancestrally and concurrently right now with hot tubs, geothermal resources, direct use heating, and a little bit of a ground source heat pump concept. It's low temperature. When we say low temperature, I want to qualify that low temperature is less than about 200 and, well, less than boiling point at the surface. Those resources are there, and you know, across the West, I want to say those are probably some of the most underutilized resources, but they are commonly found in every community, whether it's Elko to Adel to Lake City, Lakeview, Oregon. Every community seems to have these low temperature hot springs that have not been utilized to their fullest capacity as we have the technology to use them for now. Medium temperature resources are what we call our commercial cycle, binary cycle power generation. The core of our business is based on these medium temperature resources. They're from about 265 degrees to 340 degrees Fahrenheit. You think, wow, that's medium temperature. Yes, those are medium temperature resources. What we do with those resources is transfer the heat of the geothermal brine to a working fluid that expands from gas to liquid phase at a lower temperature, actually at those geothermal brine temperatures. So we transfer the heat, but we do not consume the geothermal resource, and we have zero emissions from those facilities. The working fluid that we utilize is typically a pentane, a butane, or a combination isopentane-isobutane combination. The same thing that's found in a Bic lighter. When you heat that up with your hand, the butane will, when it's under pressure, is a liquid phase. When you release the pressure with a little button, it comes out as a vapor, and the spark that we use on our thumb creates the spark to ignite that vapor. Well, we utilize geothermal, the heat of the brine, to cause that liquid isopentane-isobutane to vaporize from a liquid to a gas phase. When it's under pressure, that drives a turbine, which then drives a shaft to make rotational power and a generator on the end of that. Zero emissions, closed loop power generation cycle. That is all of the operations that you have seen in that first slide showing Churchill County. The high temperature flash steam operations are really only located in the Imperial Valley of California, in Sonoma County of California. If you've been over to Lake City or Lakeview area of California, and Sonoma County, California, Napa Valley, those are extremely high temperature flash steam operations in which Calpine and other companies are able to drill into a resource, a geothermal high temperature geothermal system, and the temperatures of that steam are so high, up over 350 degrees, that when released through a wellhead, have the power to drive a turbine just the same way a jet engine drives, has a shaft on it. That's produced mechanical energy that turns a turbine and makes electricity that goes onto the grid. That does, however, produce a steam plume. And that steam plume is released into the air, and not all of that resource can be collected and put back into the resource to maintain that system. As a result, steam resources do have or can have some losses over time. That's not the case with these medium temperature resources that we utilize in the Great Basin for binary cycle technology that have zero emissions, zero direct emissions, I should say, we have zero direct emissions. So, next slide, Tara. So power generation, this just shows graphically the power cycle where we pull this hot geothermal brine, we transfer the heat to the working fluid, it drives a turbine which spins a generator, and then using air cooling, we cool that motive fluid back down into a liquid phase where it is reused in the power cycle. And the geothermal brine is then injected or put back into the geothermal system from where it came. This is the result is a very technical, and this leads to my next slide, Tara. As I get into capacity factors, a very technical analysis of hydrogeologic conditions in order to maintain a geothermal system, not only a renewable energy system, but we want to operate that renewable energy system in a sustainable manner that doesn't cool that resource down over time. I want to jump into capacity factors. We like to talk about the advantages of geothermal energy. has the highest capacity factor of any energy, renewable energy we can develop, meaning that when Ormat or another company comes to you and says, we would like to develop a 25 megawatt geothermal power supply at Carson Lake or wherever it might be, that resource, when developed, will deliver the design capacity of that site 95 to 99% of the year. We are going to deliver 25 megawatts, 24/7, substantially all year long. If we were to design a 20 megawatt solar facility, that 20 megawatt designed solar facility will only actually deliver about 6.5 megawatts of power to the grid. You have to design 3 or more times solar than you actually are going to put on the grid. Wind energy has a little bit higher capacity factor at about 42%. Not to bash wind and solar because they have their place. The reason that geothermal resources are so attractive to utilities is because they are baseload energy. You turn them on sort of like a diesel engine. They run continuously. They're very reliable over the long term. Next slide, Tara. Timelines. The drawbacks to geothermal are that our timelines for development are very, very long. There is no longer or more risky development opportunity in the energy industry than geothermal. As a result of these timelines and the risk involved in geothermal development, we see a very limited number of new entries into the market in terms of new company entries. And a lot of those companies that enter the market are looking for, I would say, senior partners, senior leadership, or venture capital that is willing to risk some time and some resources on a the long-term payback of geothermal resources. I want to give you an example. We've been working on the Diamond Flat geothermal exploration site for more than 5 years. After more than 5 years, we are only core drilling out at Diamond Flat, just south of the landfill, this week, actually. I actually started work on that project in 2014, and the person that we acquired it from had the leases for probably 10 years before that. So we're looking at these long lead times. Not all projects, but most projects have these very long lead times. It takes years to drill. Consequently, it gives us time to come and talk to the community, talk to the commissioners in the counties that we're working, and be able to talk about any concerns about projects as they're moving ahead. We have enough projects, and we've had some permitting expectations break free in the last 12 months. Those permitting timelines have been shortened, and we've actually now switched we've been subjected to quicker permitting timelines, which is very, very helpful. We're now behind the 8 ball on our ability to actually drill these areas and look at the availability, whether these resources actually exist at commercial scale fast enough or as fast as we would like to. So it's been turned around a little bit. We're moving ahead as fast as we can. We're looking at still a 3 to 5 year time frame to be able to put a resource onto the grid, so to speak. Next slide, Tara. So geothermal advantage, zero emission power generation, no impacts to surface or groundwater. It's the most common question I get: how much groundwater will you pump? And I say to Mrs. Johnson in the rural community of Tenaya, Mrs. Johnson, we're not going to use any of your groundwater. And she asks about why and how, and we go into a very in-depth discussion of that. I won't discuss that today unless you'd like an explanation. But we don't use groundwater in our operations. We use it for drilling, to be very clear. We have to have, and we do lease or buy water for drilling on a short-term basis, but we do not use it in the power production cycle. Dark sky protection, compliant lighting, no geothermal brine is lost or consumed by the operation. We have the smallest visual and physical footprint of any renewable energy we can develop. About 1 acre per megawatt is the standard. No impacts to grazing and recreation, so we work very closely with ranching and grazing operations, farming operations. In the Imperial Valley, we work literally in and around the salad basket of America. We have geothermal operations on carrot fields, next to spinach fields, everything else. No, sustainable and renewable. And I think it's important to note that renewable energy is great, but can you operate it sustainably over the long term? Next slide, Tara. Or is that the last one? It may be questions. Lastly, I want to say community benefits. One of the things we would also like to talk about is what are the expectations do we have of the county? And I like to be able to come to the commissioners and say, commissioners, our expectation is that we can sign a road maintenance agreement with you. We want to make sure that road maintenance agreement with your road department is up to date, that it gets upheld, that we respond to the concerns of the county in access, but we don't require new schools, we don't require new sheriff, infrastructure, roads. We like to say, I don't believe we have any impacts to county services. We provide 4 to 10 to 12 really good, maybe 20 up at the most for operations. We have a higher and variable construction crew, obviously, during a year and a half of construction, but long-term, good-paying jobs in the community. Substantial county tax revenue. This is actually, we pay over $6 million annually in Churchill County taxes, plus a kickback in royalty from the federal royalty rates. I'm not sure where that is, Chairman, but we could look that up if you'd like. I noted there 25% federal royalty payment kickback. I think that's the last slide, Tara. Thank you for your time. I'd like to be able to come back and give you an update as we find out more about these 7 sites that we're exploring, and I'll keep you updated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Any questions or comments from board or staff?
Appreciate being here.
Okay,
Anything from you? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
thank you, sir.
Appointment 5B, consideration and possible action, a division into large parcel map application PC 25-5, filed by Mick Casey for the property located at 14,001 Cadet Road, APN number 007-071-16, consisting of 221.21 acres in the A10 zoning district. The applicant proposes to divide the property into 4 large parcels. Floor is all yours.
Dan Colon, Churchill County Planning for the record. The applicant is requesting to divide a 221-acre parcel into 4 parcels that are exceeding 40 acres, meeting the division of land into large parcel requirements. Staff is able to make all of the required findings under code as well and meet the purpose of Churchill County Code, therefore recommends approval with conditions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from board or staff? Is there any public comment? If none, a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the parcel map application PC 25-5 to create 4 large parcels at 14001 Cadet Road, assessor's parcel number 007-071-16, subject to conditions in the staff report.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second, and I should note that I will not be voting on this, seeing as the applicant is my grandfather. With that, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 And I abstain from voting. We'll jump to 5B, consideration and possible action. Parcel map applications PC 26-1, PC 26-2, PC 26-3, PC 26-4, and PC 26-5, filed by P4 Properties LLC to implement a cluster development. The property is located at 3435 Lima Lane, APN number 006-331-82 in the A5 zoning district. The applicant proposes to create 16 parcels with 5 parcel maps and will record a conservation easement on the remaining agricultural parcel. Darren?
Dan Colon, Churchill County Planning, again for the record. The applicant is requesting to implement an approved tentative map for the cluster development, creating 15 new parcels and 1 conservation easement for a total of 16 parcels. Staff is able to make all of the required findings and meet the purpose of Churchill County Code, and therefore recommends the board approve with conditions the application.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from board or staff? Is there any public comment? If none, a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the parcel map application PC 26-1, PC 26-2, PC 26-3, PC 26-4, and PC 26-5 to implement a cluster development creating 15 new parcels and record a conservation easement on the remaining parcel at 3435 Lima Lane, assessor's parcel number 006-331-82, subject to the conditions listed in the staff report.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. 5D, consideration and possible action, a parcel map application, PC 26-6, filed by Gary and Roxanne Lewis and Bruce and Barbara Lewis. The property is located on McLean Road, APN number 008-492-83, in the E1 zoning district. The applicant proposes to create 3 lots. Darren?
Dan Collin for the record, Churchill County Planning. The applicant is requesting to divide the 16.23 acre parcel into 2 5-acre parcels and 1 6.23 acre remainder parcel. Staff is able to make all of the findings and purpose under Churchill County Code and therefore recommends the board approve with conditions.
Okay, any questions or comments from board or staff? Okay, any public comment? If none, a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve parcel map application PC 26-6 to create 3 parcels on McLean Road. Assessor's parcel number 008-492-83, subject to conditions listed in the staff report.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Thanks, Dan. 5E, consideration and possible action, ratification of an interlocal contract between Churchill County Social Services and the State of Nevada Department of Human Services, Division of Social Services, for the provision of an annual intake for the Energy Assistance Program. Who has taken this one? Alexa? Thank you.
Alexa Robinson, Churchill County Manager's Office, for the record. So this is just a agreement that we do each year between the State Department of Social Services and our Churchill County Department of Social Services. It's basically they reimburse us $15 per application for every completed application for the Energy Assistance Program that we submit to them. So we will review the applications, make sure they're complete, make sure they give us a checklist, and we review the checklist. And when we submit them to the state, if they are complete, we get $15 back from the state towards that work that we do, up to but not to exceed $4,300 for the year. I think that's basically it.
Okay, thank you, Alexa. Any questions or comments from board or staff? Is there any public comment? A motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to ratify the interlocal contract between Churchill County Social Services and the State of Nevada Department of Human Services, Division of Social Services, for the provision of annual intake for the Energy Assistance Program.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Alexa. Did anyone want to pull any of the letters received? Okay, we'll jump to old business. 7A, public hearing, consideration and possible action. Appeal hearing concerning appeals filed by George Pomeroy, GP Global LLC, of the Planning Commission's denial of request for variance, VAR 26-1 and VAR 26-2, from the per parcel sign area limitation to allow 5 signs and 2 signs along the railway right-of-way, establishing a consistent and intentional pattern along the corridor and aligning with the intent of Churchill County Code 16.16.020 6B2G4AC. Swear them in. Okay, with that, I'll turn it over to you, Randy, and give us the details.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Randy Hines, Public Works Planning and Building. Tara, can you slide that over? I'll go over the application for the variance and kind of describe both. So the highlighted one now, the blue one, that's variance number 1. He was requesting to have 5 signs in this parcel. And click on the other parcel, Tara. Yeah. This is variance number 2, and in variance number 2, he was asking to do two signs in this area. To describe these areas, they're both easements, right? So along the south side of the road is the highway, Highway 50, and that's done with the easements vary. It's approximately 120-foot wide highway easement or fee. The north side of the road is, of course, the railroad, and as you get farther east, these easements vary. Okay. Again, going back to 1, there's again 5 signs, 5 7x20 signs is what he's asking for in area 1, and again in area 2, or for variance 2, there's 2 signs 7x20 if I recall, And there's an existing sign on the east side of Gummo that's in that area too. So this one already has a sign on that parcel. Let's go back through my notes. So when we evaluated this, we go back to code, right? And Churchill County Code 16.16.02065 states that all commercial property owners east of Roberson to Carson River Bridge are limited to 140 square feet of sign area per parcel. This can be one sign of 140 square feet, or it can be any number of signs totaling 140 square feet. So the variance application significantly exceeds this requirement of 140 square feet, because he's asking for 5 signs of 140 and two signs, which already has a sign of 140 square feet. So that's what the variance is asking for. We received some correspondence from NDOT stating that the permittee needs to identify how they'll access these new sign locations. Currently, these properties do not have access off the highway. Again, half of it's the highway and half of it's the railroad. And then they also mentioned that complying with the Highway Beautification Act, which regulates outdoor advertising, junkyards, highway aesthetics along NDOT right-of-ways. So that'll be something that'll, if this, gets approved or overturned, to have to be addressed, how that Highway Beautification Act per NDOT. At the time of the application, the applicant was working with Clear Channel Outdoor, and that's Union Pacific's contracted liaison for sign installation requests. And if I recall, there was no approval from the railroad that he could install these signs within the railroad easement, but maybe Mr. Pomeroy can respond to that. Again, this wasn't stated. We had mentioned that there's electrical power poles and electrical line that runs along the highway. It substantially runs along the north easement line of the NDOT right-of-way, splitting the two easements. After further review, we found there's a fiber optic line that runs parallel to the power lines, approximately 3 to 4 feet off. That's CC-Com's fiber optic line. And on the north side of the line, there's a Kinder Morgan line between York Lane and Gummo Drive. And once it hits Gummo, it crosses that easement and follows the north side of the railroad. Those weren't brought up in the planning commission meeting, but those are other utility companies that we need to have correspondence with if this does get overturned. Again, the Kinder Morgan line is a high pressure jet fuel line that goes out to the Navy, and they are pretty strict on kind of the requirements that go on there. So with that, I can answer any questions as far as the applications for the variances.
Thank you. Before we jump to Mr. Pomeroy, does board have any questions for Randy? Okay, George, go ahead.
George Pomeroy, for the record. Good morning, Commissioners. George Pomeroy with GP Global Outdoor Advertising, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak with you guys today. The basis of this request is a peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty created by the property itself. This property is not a typical commercial parcel. It's a long, narrow railroad corridor along a major highway. It's already disturbed by a railroad infrastructure, and it has a very different physical character than a normal parcel with a compact shape, a single frontage, and ordinary development potential. The practical difficulty arises because the current sign code applies a per parcel sign limitation to this long linear corridor as though it were an ordinary lot. As applied here, the strict letter of the code does not account for the actual shape, frontage, and physical setting of the property. The question in front of us today is not whether I can place or cannot place signs along the parcel, as that is a permitted thing under the county code. I'm here because I believe we have an opportunity to do this properly and with care so we can have a result that better aligns with the Churchill County Master Plan. On page 11-8 of the master plan, it says that development fronting major highways should promote a positive image of the county and should adhere to appropriate landscaping and signage requirements. Most importantly for this application, the master plan specifically states that while Churchill County has historically not allowed standard-sized billboards in many cases, billboards are important for making a good impression on the traveling public and should be allowed outside of the main populated areas. As it sits right now, I have two options that fully fall within the county code. First, I can place one 140 square foot sign anywhere along that mile-long corridor. And I realize that my opinion may not be shared by everyone here, but I believe that one sign randomly placed along the parcel would look arbitrary and potentially unplanned and out of place. To fix this, I believe a series of evenly spaced uniform signs creates a visual pattern that looks planned and orderly rather than random and isolated. In this case, the practical difficulty is that, as written, the code breaks down on this parcel and does not create a result that is as aesthetically appealing as it could be and would not make as good of an impression on the traveling public. So my second option that falls within the code is to still put up 5 signs. However, with the 140 square foot limitation on face area per parcel, each of the signs would be 28 square feet, which is smaller than a 4x8 sheet of plywood. For an ordinary on-premise signage or a small business sign, 28 square feet may have some usefulness, but for an off-premise highway sign intended to be read by the traveling public at highway speeds, a 28 square foot face is not a functional sign. It may satisfy the code on paper, but it does not create a readable or practical sign for the traveling public. In that setting, 5 28 square foot signs would not implement the master plan, as they would create undersized, ineffective signs that do not accomplish the county's stated planning goal of making a positive impression on the traveling public through appropriate highway signage. The variance I'm requesting is intended to solve the practical difficulty of either option in a controlled way. I'm not asking for large, scattered, or uncontrolled signage. I'm proposing smaller, uniform signs placed in an orderly or predictable manner along an already disturbed railroad corridor. I believe that is a better visual result than forcing this property into a code provision that was not really written for this type of parcel. So I'm asking the commission, or I'm not asking the commission to ignore the code. I'm asking the commission to use the variance process for what I believe it's designed to do: address an unusual property condition where strict application of the code produces a result that is not the best fit for the property or for the county's own planning goals. The practical difficulty is unique to this property. The request is not based on personal circumstances, and it is not based exclusively on financial return. It will not change the essential character of the area, and it will not impair light, air, traffic, safety, or the public welfare. And I believe it better implements the master plan's direction for highway corridors than strict application of the per parcel rule would in this specific case. For those reasons, I respectfully ask the commission to find that this property presents a peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty, and that the requested variance is consistent with the Churchill County Master Plan, and that the Planning Commission's denial should be reversed. Thank you.
Thank you, George. I'll turn it over to this board. Questions, comments, concerns of you guys?
This question might be for Mr. Hines. On a variance, does it follow the property or does it follow the property owner?
It follows the property, but he's got the property owner's signature on that, on his application.
Okay. And then it's also, it states in there that if it's not the property owner, then the property owner has to agree to it. Is the property owner going to financially gain if you were to put billboards on this property?
Yes, they will.
Are you going to financially gain if you put billboards on the property?
Potentially. That's the hope, or I could financially lose, it's a risk.
You did state in the planning commission meeting that profit was not your primary driver here, so I was just wondering what your primary driver is.
Creating a good, basically a plan that supports the master plan and making the, visual entryways aesthetically appealing as it states and fitting with the county code.
And then NDOT's responded officially that there's no access to this property. How do you feel, or how do you plan to achieve access to the property?
Yeah, so access to the property is pretty simple. I'm gonna pull off on York Lane on the west side and then drive along the railroad parcel to access the signs. And then also from Gummo Lane, I'll use the railroad property to stay on the railroad ground.
Okay. And then why do you feel that NDOT doesn't think that this coincides with the Nevada Highway Beautification Strategy that they have?
NDOT's just outlining concerns that it brings up with every sign that I have to put in front of them. And they have pretty strict set of rules, and the Highway Beautification Act is what they follow. Basically, the Nevada Code is the Highway Beautification Act. And these signs are fully compliant with the Highway Beautification Act and the Nevada Code.
Do you think other billboard companies follow the Nevada Highway Beautification Strategy, or do you think they have the same struggles that you do?
Say that again?
Do you think other billboard companies have do they follow that beautification strategy, or do you think they have the same struggles that you have?
Every company and every person that works in the billboard business has to follow these Highway Beautification Act and all the same rules.
Have you been in contact with all the utility providers that's in that area and identified their easements, and you're not going to encroach on any of their easements?
Yes, I have.
Have you contacted Kinder Morgan?
Yes.
What's their easement?
Their easement, they just have that pipeline, and they came out and had to mark the pipeline before I could even take this to the, I had to do a call dig before I could even take this to the railroad. They basically just said as long as I stay 5 feet away from that sign, the pole that is, they have no problem with it.
Do you have anything in writing that proves that?
No, that was a discussion I had with the Kinder Morgan representative that came out. I can get it in writing, certainly, but I don't have that now.
That's all I have at this time. I might have more.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
I'll tell you, I've dealt with Kinder Morgan and dug next to their lines a lot, more than I'd like to. And they are very strict, and they are there whenever you're close. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get done. My other concern is we already have so many distractions driving, and we put that many distractions, which is a bad intersection anyways. I just wonder how that's going to affect traffic. Did NDOT do they look at some of that stuff, Randy? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I think, that's probably part of their beautification, but we can definitely reach out to them and say, again, they didn't have any, their statement is in the past, they've had a lot of issues with permittees not complying with that Highway Beautification Act. That's in their email to us. Again, I don't know what their separation is, but, and our separation's less. It's just, we just require one, we only allow one or that square footage. So, but I can definitely reach out to them and get an answer from that. I did want to follow up on the Kinder Morgan. We've done several projects in the past, and they're really strict on 20 feet either side of that line. That's the experience that I have. I mean, we can't even run the roller compactor on asphalt base 20 feet either side of that line. So again, I think, if this does move forward, we would definitely need something in writing from Kinder Morgan, because it is on the north side of that pole, of those poles.
Thank you, Randy. Any other questions or comments?
I just feel like that if we were to overturn this decision, we would need something in writing that, from all the utility companies, and maybe a cross-section map of all the utilities, that it would coincide with everything and would work. However, you commented that this is aligned with the master plan, and I really feel like it doesn't align with the master plan. I feel like it damages the master plan because, and I think it's going to damage the character of that area, having a bunch of billboards. That's just my honest opinion. I think I speak for other people. I've talked to many people about this. Another thing that I'm concerned with is the property rights of people who own property in that area. You don't own that property, but other people do. What opportunity are you taking away from them? Because they already own the property. So that's a concern for me also. So, and I don't think that it in any way creates a positive image in that area. I just don't see it. But I really truly believe, just my experience in the construction world, I don't know that you could put a sign in there with all those utilities and all the easement restrictions. But that's just my opinion. So, and the Planning Commission is a good planning commission, and they thoroughly vetted these applications along with the Planning Department. So, I support our Planning Commission. I think they make great decisions.
Thank you, Eric. At this time, I'll call for public comment.
Can I say more?
Go ahead, George.
Okay. Yeah, I misspoke. It is 20 feet. My poles are going to be 25 feet away from that pipeline. I have worked through the process with NV Energy on other signs before to put signs in their, basically in their, encroach in their right-of-way also. Property rights, it's a railroad property. I do have their permission, and there is an actual process to go through for this stuff. They actually have a department specifically for signs, advertising signs. And then as far as affecting the entryway, is it a matter of like too many signs, or what if we reduce that number? You know, because I was just thinking that 1,000-foot spacing roughly, and the small signs would fit the, you know, make it orderly and appealing and look like it was actually planned, was my, my intention behind the 5.
Okay, thank you, George. Yeah,
Is something less?
we'll have more discussion on it too, but I'll call for public comment now.
Okay.
Good morning, members of the commission. My name is John Geslin. I'm an attorney for Michael Casey. Mr. Casey owns a property directly to the north of this parcel. Mr. Pomeroy made the same arguments at the Planning Commission that he makes here today. And under NRS 278-3195, this review is of a discretionary land use decision by the Planning Commission. And your role here today, as you know, is not to adjudicate the facts. It's to only determine if there was substantial evidence in the record supporting the decision of the Planning Commission. There's a presumption of validity of the Planning Commission's decision, and it's entitled to deference. The controlling authority in the state of Nevada is a Nevada Supreme Court case by the name of it's McKenzie versus Shelley at 77 Nevada 237. It's a 1961 case, but it's irrelevant. It says, and I'll just read portions of it. It says it's a function of this board not to ascertain as a matter of law anything but was there substantial evidence before the board which would sustain the board's action. The action taken by the city council in this case is an administrative capacity and would not warrant interference by the trial court except if there were a manifest abuse of discretion. And what is a manifest abuse of discretion? It's a decision that exceeds all bounds of reason. And the legislative action must be upheld if the facts do not show the bounds of that discretion have been exceeded. And if you look at the minutes from the Planning Commission, the commission questioned the long, narrow railroad parcel, that it constituted a hardship, just as you did, Mr. Blakey. It noted that the variance can't be granted because the proposal is made more for profit, and it is not aesthetically release. It is not the aesthetics do not conform with the existing sign regulations. And several of the commissioners agreed that the applicant had not satisfied the findings, particularly the hardship findings, which is the key to a variance. And the discussion continued that the granting of the variance would significantly create a different sign standard if this were granted. And so under the McKenzie standard, there's no manifest abuse of discretion, and certainly the decision did not exceed the bounds of reason. And I would request that the appeal be upheld and this appeal be denied. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, we'll jump back to the commissioners. Any other comments, concerns? I guess we'll go with mine. As you know, George, we have to go through, the list that the Planning Commission reviewed, and I can't, in a way, come up. You can move stuff around, err on this side of one thing or the other, but no matter what, I can't get all four to check. And so for that, I'm going to uphold the denial from the Planning Commission. I don't know if anyone else has any other concerns.
I just want to state for the record that, if that variance was approved, then it creates a domino effect in other areas of the county that could be way more detrimental than this project. And as I've stated already, I feel like it damages the master plan and the character of that area. Therefore, I don't think we need to take any action and let the planning commission's decision stand.
That was my other concern as well, is setting precedent. You know, my family owns about a mile of highway frontage on Lovelock Highway. If we wanted to, you could create a narrow parcel and claim that it's undue. And again, the other thing too, George, is you pursued this parcel, so I have a really hard time understanding how it's an undue hardship. If you own the parcel, if it was family or something like that for a long time, but you pursued that parcel. Commissioner Hyde, do you have anything?
I would adopt the comments of my fellow commissioners.
Okay, go ahead.
Sir, so the question that I need to answer is a hardship or a practical difficulty, and I think the practical difficulties, support the,
But I think that key word in there is undue. You pursued that parcel. It's not, you didn't have that parcel for a long time, or it's family, or you bought it and something else changed. You pursued that parcel. So that I think that undue is the key word there. Anything else?
I can't think of anything. Or is, what if we kicked it down to 3 on that one long parcel, about 2,000 foot in between the signs?
I think this board does have the power to do that. Me personally, I'd like to see it go back through planning commission and be reviewed by them again. I don't want to just jump their decision and change it completely. I think it'd have to go through the whole entire process again. Maybe Wade could chime in on that one.
I mean, this board does have the authority to modify the decision. However, that would almost be almost a new application for a, different signage. So I would agree that it would need to go back through the planning commission.
Okay, thank you, Wade. Are you guys in agreement with that?
I'm in agreement with the county code, so whatever the county code says, that's what I'm for.
Okay, any other public comment? If none, a motion, please. Oh, it just holds, doesn't it? Do we need a motion or no?
If the board takes no action, then the action taken by the planning commission it stands. You could also take action to affirm that decision or to deny it.
We'll just leave it uphold, so there's that. Thank you, guys. 7B, consideration and possible action, selection of a third-party recruiter to conduct the search for county manager, or alternative action to direct staff to solicit further proposals or develop an alternative recruitment plan. Wade, the floor is all yours.
Wade Carner, Chief Deputy District Attorney for the record. On June 4th, the board made the decision to move to a third-party recruiter for the county manager appointment, and asked that the district attorney's office facilitate getting proposals from recruiters to do that. What you have before you is 5 proposals. These are the 5 proposals that we received back from the solicitations that we sent out to the recruiters. So there's CPS HR Consulting, GMP Consultants, Pracademic Partners, Sierra Executive Solutions, and HRC Limited. You've been provided their full proposals in the packet. There's also been provided a brief summary of those proposals, as well as key differences between them. So I guess leave it open to the board for a discussion.
Perfect. Thank you, Wade. Any questions or comments? Your guys' thoughts on these proposals? Personally, I'm leaning towards CPS HR Consulting.
I wonder if the board would entertain putting this agenda item on idle and letting us process this information a little bit more, gathering our thoughts a little bit more, and come back at another time to maybe approve this or whatever we choose to do. I want to throw that out there first, if you guys have any thoughts to that.
We definitely could, yeah. Again, just don't want to drag this out too long, but when you look at these guaranteeing the timelines, I mean, it's going to be a long process anyway, so what's another couple weeks? And it would allow us to review this information more.
So just asking, this, whatever your thoughts
I
are.
wouldn't mind reviewing it more. It was a little bit of a task going back between them.
Yeah.
and doing all the comparisons, so I wouldn't mind having a little more time. I like, I lean towards somebody that has some experience with Nevada because we have such strict open meeting laws, as we know, and somebody that understands that, I think, has value for me and us as commissioners. So I would like to have a little more time to look at these.
I think all the companies are qualified. Mr. Garner, sorry about that.
Yeah.
He vetted them to make sure that they could do a good job for us, and they all have a reputation that's outstanding, so far, the research that I've done. But I just feel like 5 days to assess these proposals. And this is, once again, this is one of the largest decisions that we always make. And I would only like to make this decision one more time in my tenure, possibly, so.
Agreed.
Anyway, that's what I'd like to do, but you guys seem to feel okay with that also.
That's fine by me. I'd love more time to review it. Again, I just don't want to get too far drug out here, so, and I don't think we will.
And then on the board action, I just want to keep it open to anything that we want to do. I want that board action to stay open. So once we evaluate everything, we've processed everything, we've really got our thoughts together, had a lot of good time to get it together, then we can do what's best for Churchill County.
Yeah, I'd like to put the time frame. The first meeting in August is when we bring this back.
Agreed. So with that, can I get a motion to move it to the first meeting in August?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to table this item to the first meeting in August of 2026.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Wade. Okay, we'll jump to our new business, 8A, consideration and possible action, approval of Resolution 12-2026, adopting and certifying Churchill County's tax rate for fiscal year 2026-2027. Sherry?
Thank you. This is a requirement of NRS that this resolution be approved by the board. It's the same tax rate that was approved during the budget process. So I ask for your approval, please.
Thank you, Sherry. Any questions or comments from board or staff? Any public comment? Okay, if none, a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt Resolution 12-2026, certifying the combined tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027 as submitted.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
8B, consideration and possible action, adoption of Resolution 13-2026, assigning an additional portion of the ad valorem tax levy for cooperative extension for fiscal year 2026-2027 in the sum of 1 cent, making a total of 2 cents. Sherry?
Thank you. This is the same type of NRS requirement in which anything above the 1 cent has to have a resolution, and it was also approved during the budget process. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Do we know if they've hired all those positions out already, Sherry, or
I do not know.
does anyone know? This would have been a Joe thing, dang.
I can find that out, though. I'll ask.
Yeah, if we could find that out, just because this addition of this 1 cent was with the agreement that they would hire 2 more positions in that office. I think one of them hasn't been hired and one of them has. So they're not all the way there yet. And again, this has been going on for a couple years now. So with that, any other questions or comments?
Same problem everybody else does.
Yeah. Okay, any public comment? Okay, if none, a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adopt the Resolution 13-2026, assigning an additional portion of the ad valorem tax levy in support of cooperative extension for fiscal year 2026-2027, and directing the comptroller to include it in the final budget to the Department of Taxation as required by the Nevada Revised Statute.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sherry. Consent items. Did anyone want to pull anything off the consent agenda? If not, a motion to approve that, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Does anyone have anything they want to consider for a future agenda item?
On it this time.
Okay, we'll jump to Commissioner Management Staff Reports. We'll start with you, Commissioner Hyde.
Yes, I had the opportunity to speak at the Churchill Community Coalition. Honestly, didn't know a lot about it. It provides a ton of resources to this community for mental health issues, food issues. They've got a great website that's easy to navigate, great staff. It's a great resource for this community, and I was very impressed with what they offer, and we just really need to get it out there that they offer so many resources for people in need, and they have it very outlined very well, and there's just a ton of resources, and it's a great asset to this community.
Thank you, Commissioner Hyde. I had a Carson Water Subconservancy District meeting, as well as a NACO Board of Directors meeting. And then I was also able to fly back to DC last week, and it was a NACO PILT fly-in is what they called it. So that's payment in lieu of taxes, to advocate for payment in lieu of taxes. It was kind of funny for me, you know, we always just take the check from the feds and don't really think much of it. But when you start getting into PILT and you realize all the different moving mechanisms of it, you realize that it's not a guaranteed thing every single year. I mean, I knew that, but the severity of the issue, you know, all those eastern states don't understand, you know, payment in lieu of taxes. And so all it takes is a majority of them to kind of come together and cut that out. So that's all I had. Commissioner Blakey?
Attended the Chamber of Commerce luncheon. Farm Bureau made a presentation about the advantages of agriculture and farming. I had no idea there was 530 farms in Churchill County, but I do now. You probably knew that. Attended the graduation that it was hosted by Flying Tiz Aviation at the Fountain Airport for an Operation Aviation Foundation. It's the future pilots of our nation. So that was awesome. There were several people there. I made a presentation to the Nevada Public Lands Committee on our public lands in Churchill County and gave them an update of what's going on there. And also attended the rural road trip that was hosted at the library by the Nevada Business Industry, giving us all of our resources that are available to our community, and they're going to start doing more outreach to our communities to make sure our citizens and our government is getting the benefit. Attended the annual meeting at the museum. It was well attended. The museum has definitely come on board the last couple of years, and it's a great venue here in the county. And then I went down to the senior center yesterday and attended the coalition's ice cream float. And they run out in like 25 minutes, so they're going to have to start buying more ice cream. So, but anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Happy 4th of July.
Yes. Sherry?
I have nothing, thank you.
Wade?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Linda?
Well, I can say Happy New Year because I calculated and generated property taxes for 26, 27. We billed over $24 million in property taxes, and then I billed for TCID, which was $3.7 million. Next week, we'll have approximately 13,000 tax bills will be mailed. Property taxes are online already, and anybody that's anxious to pay can do that. Candidate filing for sheriff closes on July 24th. We still only have the 2 candidates, nobody knew. We've set up the special election for Ward 1 for the city race. Sample ballots were mailed Friday last week, and mail ballots are going to go out on Monday. And then we have in-person voting for 2 days of early voting and 1 day of election day, which will be in this building in the county manager's old office. So we've been sending all the notifications to everybody. And lastly, I neglected to do this last meeting, but Amber Edwards is the newest addition to my office and doing a fabulous job. So I just wanted you all to know.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Tara?
I just wanted to remind everyone that there will not be a second meeting this month.
Thank you. Amber?
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Mr. Mallory?
One update, Mr. Chairman. Even with the new pay scale, we have received 0 applicants for our vacant attorney position. And I have been talking with the acting county manager about possible ways to deal with that in an innovative way. We certainly, so that the board will be aware, we maximize the benefits of living in Churchill County, and always have. to these young people. But they don't seem to be interested in that as much as they were at one time, which is unfortunate for them and for us. So we'll just keep on working on it and see what we can come up with and get back with you if we have something. Thank you.
Thank you. Denise?
As Linda said yesterday, I closed the 26-27 secure tax roll, passed it over to her for billing. I will build the manufactured homes today in conjunction with the statute. They are billed along with the secured roll. And we will start reappraisal of the city for 27-28.
Thank you, Denise. Sheriff?
Last week, I attended the Western States Sheriff's Association Sheriff Training in Cochise County in Arizona. Had a chance to meet Sheriff Mark Daniels down there. He's doing a lot of work, referenced the border and fentanyl coming to our country. It was interesting to see the border wall down there and get a chance to talk to a lot of other sheriffs and stuff who, whether you got a 7-man department or a several 100-man department, are dealing with the same issues we are. Right now, we're getting ready for 4th of July. We're helping the city out with the parade with both personnel and trustee labor, and then looking to make sure we got coverage for everybody coming out from the fireworks display that night. We also have 2 new hires coming on. One be sworn in here on Monday. The other one will be sworn in on 2 Mondays from the 6th on the 20th. Everybody's welcome, 8:15, to come in and meet the new hires. With that, we are very close to being up to full staff until we get our new positions in October.
Perfect. Thank you, Sheriff. Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to let you guys know with the tasks that came out of the workshop, we are postponing our July joint workshop. Probably reconvene that, depending on what comes out of the meetings in August, either September or October.
Okay, thanks for letting us know. Claims and payroll are going around right now. At this time, is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.